So in terms of the forum, then, so how many years is that in total now? The forum's been
about
going?
8 years it's been going, the forum. So I mean, it was good because I'd been hanging around on forums anyway. So as soon as we got our own little forum, I kind of put the word out, and we went from like 0 to 1,000 members in a couple of weeks. So that really helped it kind of launch it. And because I knew quite a lot of DJs, right from its start, it always had quite a lot of DJs posting on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the success of it. Really, has been built around the fact there's a lot of experienced DJs, record collectors, and music enthusiasts that sort of post on it.
Amazing breadth of knowledge on there as well. It's
incredible.
I mean, if you just look at the some of the topics that have come up in, I guess I've pretty much been on there for maybe the last 3 or 4 years, something like that. It's incredible. Seems to cover all spectrums, because I didn't know anything about so-called cosmic disco, and you know that's what I was kind of interested in, all these kind of records that sadly I chucked out probably in the early 80s, right? All of a sudden, like, you know, jumping back to prominence again. But that's what interests me. It's like you know,
what's good about it is it kind of pushes your taste into areas that it wouldn't necessarily naturally go, because, you know, we've had discussions, even a recent discussion on country and western and bluegrass, and previous discussions on folk music and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, you can still like disco and house music, but also own some folk records and country and western records. And
that's what I noticed. That's kind of one of the things I like about it, because a lot of forums just keep very narrowly within their own niches, and really the DJ History forum really covers a wide remit, I think.
But it's funny there's been some debate about what it is that defines the taste, because there is something that you could say it's about, but no one can really quite agree on it, because there is that breadth of taste. But there's something, whether it's, I don't know, funkiness or whatever, but there's something that joins it all together.
Yeah.
And now we've started selling music, which is very exciting. So that's the new development. Is we've added a download store.
And how's that going?
Well, we haven't even started marketing it yet, because we've had a few operational problems. But once we bed the site in, because we only relaunched the site a week ago, so in fact less than a week.
We forgot to put oil in it.
Yeah, we forgot to put oil in it. We've had the Swarfager out, and we've been massaging the nipples on the...
It's looking good now.
BBC, can we try and keep it clean?
Not those nipples.
Brilliant. So, so it's all going good?
Yeah, well, the plan is to just have a really tight selection of music. Instead of going to one of the big stores online and it's a supermarket, it's very much like just the labels, just the records that we want to start.
It's a sort of filtration process.
Really, just that's what people want. It's like, you know, you don't want a load of rubbish on there. You want to be able to know that what you're looking through is all really interesting. And it kind of fits the DJ history ethos of what you're saying, because there is folk music and there is reggae. And, you know, so it's like if you want to investigate a new area of music, there's our take on it. So
I think essentially that we want the store to reflect the forum in that sense, that it's got that kind of breadth of taste, and hopefully when you go into the shop it'll reflect that. You know, you'll find the same kinds of records that are being discussed in the forum.
And we're going to try and tie the two together, and we're going to add like a chart facility, so people can say, well, look, now let me turn you on to some great records that I know about that you might not.
Yeah. And so I particularly like those crate digging threads that are on there, and it's funny how it spins off. I mean, a guy came into conversation yesterday, for instance, Voodoo Frank, and I happened to be speaking with my mate Lewis, who does the Nascenti label, and as a result of me knowing who Voodoo Frank was from a previous thread, I then got him to investigate further, and now he's going down that road of looking at all these kind of, you know, really interesting kind of African.
Well, he's definitely a notorious and legendary digger, really, because
a man after my own heart.
I believe the story is his wife got some sort of quite good job in Africa, and so he didn't have anything better to do to go and look for records, so he'd literally go on these road trips and befriend people and just look for records in these villages.
I'd got no idea that there was such a viable industry out there, to be honest. You know, you start looking at the some of the pictures on that particular site, and it's like hundreds of thousands of Nigerian pressing. Who were these people? You know, and so that's one of the things that I kind of I think is good about sites like DJ History, because it's like, you know, I mean, I thought I knew my way around, and then suddenly you realise there's been a whole industry going on in Nigeria.
I mean, that's the amazing thing about the internet, is kind of, you know, our Anglo-centric view of music was very much that music was made by British and American people, with occasional interjections from an Italian or a French person
that might be the
that we'd have judged, you know, acceptable. But you realise that, you know, there were like Turkish people making funk records in the 1970s and Nigerian people making psychedelic records in the late 1960s. And why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You know, it was happening everywhere else. So that's the power of the internet, is to discover all of these amazing little kind of local scenes and make compilations out of them. Yeah.
Do you think we're still kind of very much at the beginning of?
I do. Yeah. I think we're only scraping the surface of it.
That's kind of quite exciting, really, isn't it? I mean, I know through my own experience through the kind of soul music scene and northern soul and all the rest of it. I mean, they're still finding stuff, and you know, there's still unreleased recordings being dug up, and that's America, and that's been trawled for, you know, 50 years, let's say, more or less. And so it's kind of mind-boggling, really, when you think what else could be out there.
Yeah, definitely.
It's great because globalisation everywhere else tends to make everything the same, whereas globalisation in music just means you finding these incredible new pockets of things.
Very true, yeah. And it makes you think, you know, I mean, what's the weirdest disco record you've ever heard? I was thinking there's one or two that have come from the Middle East.
Well, I've got, when I DJ'd in Moscow, I found some albums by Zodiac, who were like a Russian disco group. I've got 3 of their albums now, and they're pretty out there. And then there's some Middle Eastern stuff that I've heard edited and stuff. I've never heard the full versions. And then there's the Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, the Urdu version.
Yeah,
do you know that
version? No, I don't know.
Right, okay. I found out about that when a friend of mine called me and said there was a shop in Southall selling like loads of Indian records for like 30p each. Yeah. So we all went down there and bought everything that we could, and I found this version of Don't Stop Till You Get Enough.
Wow. That's one of the things about the UK. There's a reasonable chance, because of the way the whole, you know, immigration policy worked, especially after the Second World War. There's a good chance that there will be pockets of those records dotted around, and you know, that was a perfect example, right there.
Yeah.
Incredible. So, any future plans? You know, anything in your sights that?
Well, we're working on 2 or 3 new books at the moment, aren't we?
We've got some really exciting books next year. We've got a disco book, largely photography based, with what we're going to do. This guy Bill Bernstein took a load of pictures in 1979, and he pretty much went to every club that was open. So he's got this photo reportage of everything from the kind of glitzy Studio 54 to the Mud Club, the kind of punkier side of things, to the roller discos, to the Paradise Garage. So it's like a real complete overview of what was going on. And to go with that, we're licensing some of the best writing about disco from the time, so sort of magazine pieces that were written at the time. Then we've got another great book earlier in the year called We Can Be Heroes, which is all about, it's called Punk's New Romantic and Beyond.
Yeah.
And that really is the story of it. It's a guy, Graham Smith, who he actually designed the Spandau Ballet record sleeves.
Oh, right.
And he was part of that very small little clique of people that was doing those clubs like the Blitz and Hell and the Beach Route. So he was a very, very central part of that, and he took pictures the whole time, and they've been sat in his loft for 30 years.
Perfect.
So he's got these amazing pictures. There's kind of Boy George in the Warren Street squat, age 19, putting dresses together. There's things like that. There's, you know, footage of all the clubs, and Chris Sullivan, who obviously was another big part of that scene, is.
I just missed in Ibiza this last season.
Yeah.
He I think he was doing a couple of things at Aura, and it was all.
Oh yeah, he's been DJing quite a lot, I think.
Yeah.
But he's writing the text for it, so it's a real insider account of the whole thing. And to date, there's been a couple of books on New Romantics, but the pictures have been abysmal. So it's really going to hit both bases. And then David Katz, who's a pretty famous reggae writer, is writing an oral history of Jamaican popular music.
Wow.
So that's the 3 books next year, and then we've got some more lined up. But I think also we're really going to concentrate on the DJ history, on the download store, and just make that as good as we can.
Yeah, brilliant. And so we'll, I guess we should talk a little bit about the Trax Re-Edited project. This was initially commenced in the 25th
year ago, wasn't it?
25th anniversary of Trax Records. I mean, such is the whole thing. You know, it felt like it really should have been a kind of organic thing. I didn't really want to pressure anybody or start putting timetables on it. And also, I don't know if I'm right in saying this. Would this be the first time that a project like this has ever been done through a public internet forum?
I think so, yeah.
I think it's the first time something of this sort of scale of release has been done through that, and that's what was nice about it, was that it's very true to what DJ history is about, and that we sort of opened it up to anyone who wanted to have a go.
Yeah, I thought it was the ultimate in democratic re-editing, and so. What were your feelings about the quality of the entries and the contributions?
Well, I mean,
you had the job of choosing them.
I did, but I mean, a lot of them just chose themselves because they were just obviously really good. I mean, the first instance, I approached a bunch of people that I thought would be really into it. I knew were massive fans of Trax, and then once I started getting a few things in, I opened it up to everybody, and with the initial plan of really choosing a winner for a competition, but we just got so many great entries that it didn't become a winner. It just became like, well, that's got to go on and that's got to go on.
It very rapidly went from 1 CD to 2 CDs.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing.
And it was in danger of even going past that.
Yeah, but what was fantastic about it was that we suddenly found lots of people who were very well respected producers like Mark Broom and John Daly, who we'd never previously had any contact with, getting in touch because they'd either read about it on DJ History or a friend that reads DJ History and told them about it. And so we got some relative unknowns who'd submitted stuff that was really good, and then some really well established producers that just found out about it through word of mouth or through DJ History. So it was a really good balance of sort of, experienced producers that just wanted to be involved in the project, and then some less experienced people.